Welcome back to In Your Neighborhood. I'm your host, Charlotte Brown, and on today's show, we've been talking with the Lkhd Transportation Museum Society. My guest today has been Charlie Brown, who's the president at the Society. And before the break, we were talking about the Brill trolley buses, and you actually brought some pictures. So maybe you can kind of talk a little bit about, these are the original, what they looked like.
Absolutely, yeah. They didn't look like that when we brought them in 2001, trust me. They didn't look like that at all. And we had a few bumps in the restoration project, but we finally did restore them in 2007, and that's what they look like right now from 2007. So the exterior of the buses themselves have all been redone, and this is the Port Arthur colors itself, and we actually took the paint chips off of scrap vehicles around the area and everything, so this is all historically accurate. These are the colors from the Fort William system, because like I said, there was two systems, and unfortunately the buses don't run because they are trolleys. They used to run on the electrical system, and all the wires, if you remember those in the city, they're all gone, so we can't run them in that fashion. So they're a static display. However, we would like to get people on them, and the reason is because it's such an experience to get on one of these, because you don't have that opportunity anymore. And the thing is with these buses themselves is we really didn't do a lot to the inside. The people that we bought them from in Richmond, they were very generous with us, so if there was any seats that were ripped up, they threw extra seats off of other buses for us and other parts. We still had to scrounge around the area for other things like little lights and things like that. They were painted at Peltier's Auto Body for us. New Tech Metal did a whole bunch of work on light metal reworking because some of it was rotted away. We had a carpenter within the shop itself, and we redid all of the doors with the carpenter. The inside is like 1944. Wow. You walk into them and it's just an experience onto itself. So what we would like to do is since we don't have a home for them right now, the Buddies of the Brill, which I'm also president of obviously, is our theory is now, let's put them on lowboy trailers. So we're going to be in a fundraising campaign over the next year, getting these on lowboy trailers and bringing them out into the community so people can actually see them. Festivals, events, schools, whatever. So we'd like to set one up, maybe the Fort William one, into a static museum with all kinds of displays and exhibits. And the other one people can actually get on, sit in the driver's seat, maybe get a picture taken or whatever, awesome. You know, so, and it would be great, I think.
Absolutely. So that's just one of the projects that you're working on. I'm curious as to some other projects that you have on the go right now.
Well, that's the Buddies of the Brill, but again, I'm also president for the Lkhd Transportation Museum Society. When we started up, as I said earlier, what we're looking for is a centralized location where we can actually set up a museum. And this would be a large project. We're looking for something like in the range of 40,000 square feet, because we would like to be able to take the James Whalen, the Via train, the buses, the caboose, other larger artifacts, and nothing small, unfortunately, and actually put them inside in an area where people can get inside and be interactive with them. So that's our big project. We've had the opportunity of making presentation to City Council. We've appeared before the Waterfront Development Committee. We've appeared before the Waterfront BIA. We've got a lot of interesting support in a general sense of the idea. But I guess what the big thing right now is, what everybody's talking about is, what's it going to cost? And how would we be able to sustain that? And we were thinking of a number of ways. Is really, we don't want to be a burden on the city, but we really need a way to save the history for transportation. So we were looking at a lot of other opportunities. And at the beginning of this year, and during the summer, we were looking at an opportunity to actually purchase a cruise ship operation, not unlike what the Welcome used to be. And there was a ship, or there still is one, that's up for sale down in Georgian Bay in Penetanguishene. It's called the Georgian Queen, and we were looking at actually purchasing that. It was originally the Murray Stewart, and it was built here back in the day in the Port Arthur shipyards. It was originally a merchant ship, ran throughout the war and everything. It was discontinued, and then a local businessman bought it and reworked the whole ship and made it into a cruise ship operation. So we were originally looking for that idea because then we thought then we could generate funds for revenues and then turn it to other projects. But in the meantime, we found out another project which we thought was just a little bit better, and we've kind of put the Queen on the hold, and we're looking at the Alexander Henry.
Which is the beautiful ship beside you. So yeah, definitely tell me more about that.
Okay, the Alexander Henry, and as you can see, we've got T-shirts now.
Yeah.
The Alexander Henry is just an iconic ship, and this is our big project right now. If you've been out in the community, you probably have heard about it already. The Alexander Henry was built here at the Port Arthur Shipyards again back in 1958. It was commissioned as an icebreaker with the Canadian Coast Guard with 1959. It worked up and down the Great Lakes. It was a buoy tender. It took families and workers out to the lighthouses all throughout the area and through the Great Lakes. People here in Thunder Bay probably remember it most, though, because it was a sure sign of spring, because it opened up this harbor each and every spring for 25 years. Wow. So, you know, people would line up and they say, the Alexander Henry, it's springtime and winter's almost over, so it was great. So it's really an iconic image for Thunder Bay itself. Now, it was decommissioned back in 1984. And Thunder Bay did try to get its hands on it, but unfortunately that was not to be, and it was gifted in 1985 to the Marine Museum in Kingston, Ontario. And they've had it in dry dock down there for the last 31 years. And it is their major artifact, or was, in the museum. And, you know, it was a major tourist attraction and an iconic image down on the Kingston waterfront for all of those years. Unfortunately, last year, the Marine Museum had to dispose of the Henry, and they had to move from the museum for a situation beyond their control. So they were told they have to leave. Unfortunately, there was no other place in Kingston that could dock the Alexander Henry, and it was going to actually threaten the museum itself because they had to dispose of it. So they didn't know what to do, so they went to their city council and they proposed two things. One, they could either sink it as an artificial reef, which would be really a shame, or they could turn around and they could scrap it, which was even worse as far as we were concerned. And we didn't find this out until about late August. They had moved the ship out of the dry dock in June. There's a private owner down there, a business person who's got some docking space in Picton, Ontario, and he said that he would give them free docking for about a year until they figured out what they could do with it. Well, the artificial reef, unfortunately, is a little too expensive, too rich to do, so that option is off the plate. So what we did, as soon as we found out about this in late August and early September, I made a phone call and I said, well, I hear you've got a deal for us, so what's the deal? And they were a little unsure of who we were and everything else. And after talking to them for quite some time, we made a proposal to them. If they would gift us the ship, if we could find a way to tow it back. And after months of negotiation, they said yes, they'll sell us the ship for $1, which we already have, and so we can get the ship really cheaply. Unfortunately, the shipping's a little, you know how it always is with shipping. The tow back is going to be a little more expensive. So what we've done in the last several months is we've acquired 3 quotes. They run around $178,000 to about $231,000, and we've buffeted for other expenses as well. So what we've done is a budget of about $250,000. So what we've done is we've been in the process of raising those funds. The city of Kingston has been very generous, and because they really didn't want to see the ship either sunk or scrapped either. They really didn't want to get rid of it, but they had no other option themselves. So the city of Kingston has been very generous with us, and they've committed to $50,000.
Nice.
We have an anonymous private donor in the city, which we really appreciate, who's also committed to another $50,000. We just had our fundraiser the other night. We started off our fundraiser. We've got a GoFundMe, and what we're looking for is privately to raise another $50,000. And we've approached City Council for about half the tow, which is at $125,000. And we're looking for a docking space. And hopefully, the one we would really like to get is the docking space, which is the cruise ship dock at the former Pool 6 site, okay? And it hasn't been used for about 8 years now, right. So there haven't been any cruise ships. It's absolutely perfect for us. We could just bring the ship in, put the gangway down, hook up the umbilical, and we can pretty well start bringing people on and do tours and all kinds of things.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with Charlie and talk about some future plans for the Alexander Henry.